Good evening. Good evening. I can't even get it out. Good evening, everybody. We are on edition number 4 of the Cousins Corner. We're back. I'm happy to have my cousins on here. We're going to have another great topic tonight, talking about, you know what? I think you should beat them kids when it's time to beat them kids. But sometimes, you got different nationalities want to raise your children differently. We got preachers in the house. We got people from the projects in the house. We got people who just want to raise their children differently. And when I'm in Walmart down by the trailer park, and I mean not down by the trailer park, but when I'm in Walmart and different Walmarts, and even other stores, and you walk in as a kid screaming at the front door, and their parents dragging them in the store, they're just screaming. And I'm like, man, if I wouldn't have had on some jogging pants today and had my belt, I'd have let them borrow it. Good evening, cousins.
They wouldn't have used it. They wouldn't have used it.
Good evening. What y'all think? What y'all think about? We was watching a clip. I think I could talk about is what a popular show. The father used to be an attorney. The father, he used to be a male. He got sex changed to a female, right? The stepfather, and they're very popular. The women like to marry black men, so you know what show I'm talking about this time.
Exactly.
Right?
What's the name of the show?
They love that sugar. It's called Black Sugar in My House. I think it's called
Black Sugar in My Bed.
Yeah, Black Sugar in My Bed. No, actually, I think the show is really called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner Part 2. So. Y'all ever see that show?
I've seen it. I've seen it. Actually, I'm a fan.
Oh, yeah, I watched that. I said I watched it.
Yeah.
So this is part 2, and I think they're like on episode 90. So they're sitting there, one of the 6-year-old scratched the nanny in the face, right?
Right.
And nanny quit, and they were sitting around the table talking about it, and the brother was sitting there, and he was talking about, if that little kid would have scratched me in the face, I'd have whipped her, and it blew up to something else. Cousin AJ, what'd you think?
I think he was right. I think I know what show you're talking about. And the dad got highly upset. I mean, it was a major, 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 major problem. The grandmother was crying. Everybody was crying because the boyfriend said he would whip. If it was his child, he would whip her. I mean, he would pop her. He said, I would give her a swat. There's a difference between a beating and on the butt. And I think, the Bible says, what did the Bible say? Spare not the rod. Spare the rod.
Is that really in the Bible?
Well, we came up with that one.
No, I've seen that in the Bible. So I
King
think
James
that,
Version?
yeah. Well, should be in all of them if it's the Bible, but that is the belief. Although I think different cultures are different, have different belief. I think you can tell the cultures that don't believe in spanking. Little Johnny needs a timeout for 10 minutes.
Because he calling his mama by his first name, cussing her out.
Right. By the time he's 10. Yeah, I think there's a cultural difference in how we raise our children.
So, Cousin Jeff.
Yes.
Did you ever spank your children growing up?
Well, listen, they have gotten disciplined the black way. Okay.
Time out.
I said the black way. And you're not going to get me on film to incriminate myself.
No, sir.
I will not get caught with no child abuse charges.
No, sir.
But I will say that there are some things that a child can do where they should really feel it afterwards. You understand? But you got to understand, some people's minds are bad, man, and they don't know how to pull back. So then if you're that type of person, you really can't afford to even engage your children in that way.
Ooh, cousin.
And then you got to do it in love. And even the Bible said in the last days, a lot of these parents, they don't love their children. So you rather not put your hand on them because you're going to be doing, a few years behind bars because you don't do it in love. You understand?
Yeah,
Out of control.
Yeah, I gotta find that Bible verse too.
Proverbs 13.
He ready for you.
What said that they don't love their
Proverbs
children?
13 and 24.
Okay. I got to write that down.
It says, whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them.
Oh, okay.
So
there you go. Bam.
If you won't discipline them, then you actually hate your child and don't realize that you're hating your child. Because if you really love them, then you're going to be the one that's going to discipline them, not the police.
Exactly.
So the police won't have to, or shouldn't have to.
And some people are going to say, well, why is race? What does race have to do with this? I'm sure there's someone thinking that what does race have to do with how you discipline your child? That has nothing to do with it. We bring race into everything.
We do bring race into everything, but I really noticed the difference in cultures just growing up. Me getting beat by extension cords and tree branches and whatever mom can get her hand on, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't that bad, but I know I got my share of whippings. But then you go down the street, you hear somebody else cussing their mom out.
And nothing happened. Walk right by the mother, not even a hit upside the head.
Calling her by her first name, cussing her out.
Right.
My children get away with a lot more than I got away with. But I have my limits. If I see you clearly disrespecting me, you know what I'm saying? I will knock you the heck out.
Wow.
Not in my house. Not in my house. I don't play that. So that timeout stuff, most of the time doesn't work for most children. But you have some children that really, my oldest daughter, all I had to do was raise my voice, and she was in check. So I only remember one time giving her a spanking.
Really?
But I got a son that liked to, run his mouth back.
Oh, wow.
So then, his lips might be a little bigger than the other children.
So cousin, where does he get that from though? Why is he able to talk back to you?
Test those lines.
I would say because I feel like what was done to me was abuse. I was too forgiving of the disrespect when it was at another level. So then I let it get to that level, and now I got to bring it all the way down.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if anybody's on here, how do you guys discipline your children? Whether you're watching this live now, I know people's going to go back and we're going to share this link and share this with our friends, and people are going to go in and watch this. And I want to say thank you to YouTube before I forget. I got a message from YouTube talking about, how much time people are watching, how many likes we're getting, on all the different broadcasts I'm doing. So they're saying people are liking, and I know cousin Jeff shares this out. I'm gonna say thank you guys for helping getting us to that number. So when the money starts coming in, it's gonna be profit sharing.
Okay. Remember you said that. It's on tape.
You said
it live.
That's right. Everybody's helping build this channel, and we're getting the likes and the times of viewing. That's right.
Yeah, that's cool. But I do think that a lot of people are going to say that, especially not knowing quite the demographic that is watching this, your Black mother and father is going to discipline their child differently than our white brothers and sisters. So there's a big difference. And I think that in that clip that you're talking about in that show, I think you can see the difference in that person's children versus the other ones. They raise their kid a little bit differently. They don't believe in, they don't believe in spanking. They don't believe in, it's just about talking to Johnny and not putting your hand. Because some people believe that if you hit your child, that's teaching them how to hit. So that's teaching
Wow.
them to be violent, and it's not productive. Some psychologists will tell you that. So what do you say to
Interesting.
that?
I think the psychiatrists of today are unlike the psychiatrists of yesterday. I think the psychiatrists of today are being raised in the society of timeouts and don't touch, and you could talk them out, talk to them, just talk to them. Your kid got ADHD or whatever they call it nowadays because they're not going out and playing, and you should just talk to your child. But then when we were growing up, were there this many mass shootings in the schools?
No, there were none. Never heard of it.
It was unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were getting whooped.
Yeah.
Really. And it's
Yeah.
the same people had the same guns. Well, not the same guns, but the same people had guns.
Yeah.
All of us didn't have guns. I don't know if you guys had guns in the house growing up, but the same
Yeah.
people who's going shooting schools up today are the same kids that I know growing up. They all had guns in the house. They were all going hunting at young ages, at a young age. But now, you shouldn't hit them. But it's a lot of times, to me, I think it's the people who don't have children trying to tell you how to raise your children.
Of
or how to raise
course.
children. Because they got a
course.
degree.
Yeah.
Well, and they got their degree based on an educational system that's promoting a lot of stuff that wasn't promoted in our day. You understand?
Right,
That same sex stuff and all that.
right.
Jack and Jill, it's all in the school books. Prayer, no longer pray in school.
Right.
Can't say God in school,
Whew.
So that's the psychiatrists and psychologists that are, that we have today. They come from that type of, education. They got their degree and matriculated, from that agenda. So of course, everything is, don't touch, don't hit, talk to them. You understand? But like you said, different cultures, our children need to be hemmed up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. I agree. There's definitely a difference.
But not
Definitely.
hurt, not abused. I don't
No,
promote
not abuse.
But
Yeah.
if you're in your right mind, you know the difference.
Well, what's
Right.
it? Well, I don't know. I don't know about that because, you can be disciplining your child in the way they need to be disciplined. I may look at it as abuse.
Well, I
Well-
think that if, some of the other cultures that don't believe in hitting your child at all, they're going to look at it as abuse.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you beat
You know.
your child in the store, and he's up there and crying and screaming. I'm walking to one, and you can hear that kid all over the store, in the
Yeah.
front of the store.
Yeah.
And you know what I used to tell my kids? Oh, this how you gonna do it? This what we doing? All right, wait till we get home.
Mm.
Don't
Wait
say
till we get
that.
behind them closed doors.
Yeah.
Wow.
You ain't
I
gonna
think-
fuck me off like that.
I think what's missing and what I grew up with is the fear. And my son is a grown man, but there's still a fear. Kids don't fear their parents. And I don't mean fear them because they can't talk to them or because they're afraid to approach them with something. I'm talking
Oh,
about
wow.
if I do this, my mother gonna kill me. My
Right.
father's gonna, that kind of fear. I if I did that, if I skip school, my mother find out, it's not worth it. That fear is gone.
And I think that's associated with us, our age, trying to be our kids' friends.
A lot of parents trying to be their kid's friend. Yeah. Yeah.
I tell my children all the time, I'm not your friend. I'm your parent.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I don't need to be your friend. I don't
Right.
need
Yeah.
you to be my buddy.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
If I don't
Yeah.
have no
Yeah.
other buddies, I just don't need no buddies
Wow.
Exactly.
because I have a
Yeah.
job to do. Everything begins
Exactly.
with the home. Everything
Yeah.
that happens out in society, you can trace it right back to the upbringing of that person. Why that person
I
is doing
agree.
what they're doing.
I
And you don't
agree.
get it right in the home, it doesn't get right in the street.
That's
But
true.
you
I
can't
agree.
convince the court systems and none of those systems that's where everything begins. So
Right.
then now these children turn around and be like, well, I'm gonna call the police on you.
Oh,
And you can't kick me out because that's illegal eviction.
Right.
They know all the rules You know,
Yeah.
and society is allowing them to get away with that mess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brother
I was
Patterson.
talking. Hello.
Oh, sorry.
I was
Go ahead.
talking to a young man who they put him in jail because he took his stepdaughter's cell phone and he grabbed it from her because she was sitting up there sending somebody some exotic pictures. Now she underage
Wow.
and sending pictures of her boobs and everything to some boy. He grabs the
Wow.
phone from her and takes her phone. And you ain't getting it back till you stop this mess. She called the police on him, right? And they literally arrested him for stealing her phone in his house.
Wow.
That's insane.
Wow.
I was so angry about that when I saw them put the cuffs on him. You know, it's like, yo, he's trying to be a father.
Trying to be a good father.
And
Yeah.
you arrested him because she said he stole her phone in his house.
Oof.
See, I can't
That he
steal
bought?
nothing in my
That
house
he bought?
without paying the bills.
That he bought? That he bought?
I don't know whether I think the mother.
Well, I guess
bought
it doesn't. I guess it doesn't matter because if he bought
Yeah.
it for her, I guess they said it's a gift. So
the mother bought the phone for her real
Wow.
mother. But he's a stepdad trying
Right.
to stop her from doing that mess and discipline her by taking the phone.
And
that's
that
a butt. That's a
And
that's
got
a
arrested
that's a
for it.
that's
And
a
that's a-
butthole police officer. That's somebody who don't have any kids.
Well, that's abuse. They consider that abuse.
Yeah,
What's the abuse part? Him taking the phone?
Him taking the phone.
him taking
Yeah,
the phone.
no.
Yep.
The day I told my son, if you even think about calling the police on me, somebody going to jail, somebody going to the hospital. I don't know, but we both leaving here. So don't even think about
I
it.
told my kids the same thing. The one thing you better never do is call the
Don't even
police.
think about it. Yeah. No, that's insane. But see, that comes from her thinking and knowing that she can do that. That's that entitlement. Like, this is
Wow.
my phone and you can't do anything about it. That's that entitlement. I've been blessed to have my son was almost as perfect as you can possibly be. I didn't play. I'm going through your room. I'm looking through your drawers. I'm going through your pockets. I'm looking through your book bag because I bought it all. It's all mine. I'm letting you borrow it.
So we have somebody on here who made a comment that said they're old school. They spelled it SKOOL. I agree with sparing the rod. Discipline is needed. And discipline is needed more now than ever. And also they put the
Especially
Proverbs
for our Black kids.
13:24. Right.
Absolutely.
They put
Yeah,
the
especially
Proverbs
for our Black
13:24. Yep. So, wow. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was trying to read through that. Yeah, especially with our children. We have to work harder to keep them out of jail and keep them out of harm's way. And it's unfortunate. We had to put extra on them. So when they're out in the street,
And it is unfortunate because a lot of people don't understand that, because when they say, why is it about race? And there's a lot of, we're in a multicultural society, and a lot of, our young kids are mixed. People can't tell what they are, whatever. And maybe the mother is white, the father is Black, maybe the dad's not in the house and the mother raises them different, or vice versa, but the Black and brown children are, we have to discipline them differently, because you can't let them go out thinking that they have this sense of entitlement, because you don't, and you're not going to be treated the same as your white girlfriend, Sally. It's a different treatment when they get out there.
I know there's a little delay on the recording and the live and what people see, but somebody asked, how did each of us discipline our children? Doesn't AJ, to me, that's a question I wanted to ask you, because you're kind of with your child somewhere in the middle, right? So I guess if you do, right? When it comes to cultures and
my son is his dad grew up in a very abusive household. His dad is half Black, half Japanese. So the discipline that he got from his dad was cruel. So it was important for me that our son that didn't pass down.
Interesting.
So I became very protective and defensive because he did have a temper. But if I saw anything being demonstrated, that temper toward my son, that couldn't happen. But I would just watch. I'm watching from the corner. So he never crossed the line with that. But my son, I've always instilled in him that I'm not your friend. I'm not, when I call you, I was actually kind of strict. You can't answer me, huh, or what, or yeah, to anybody. My friends, auntie so-and-so or miss so-and-so. I've only had to spank him one time.
Really?
One time. I would say he got in trouble at school. The teacher called, he was laying under the desk while they're taking a test. I'm like, why are you on the floor? Why are you on the nasty floor? I don't know. I said, well, you can't do that. Don't do that again. If you do it again, I'm gonna spank you. Next day, teacher calls and said he did it again. So we get to the house and I'm like, what? Now I gotta spank you. And I did, and I spanked him with my hand on his butt. And that was it. And that's when he was 9 years old or whatever, 8 years old. And that was it. Never had to spank him again after that. So he knew, and it was important for me to do what I said. I said, I got to do it because I said I was going to do it. So I have to do what I say and say what I do. And all through high school, and I kept saying, I hope you don't wait till you get 16 and act a fool. I hope you don't wait till you get 18 and act a fool. Or maybe don't act a fool when you get 25. Some people have 3 kids, 2 of them go right, 1 go astray. I said, I got 1, so I can't mess this one up.
Right.
But he was a great kid. Never, no problems.
That's interesting. Did you ever get down to the bottom of why laying on the floor was his thing?
Bored. I ended up changing schools. He was bored, had his work done. The classroom was moving slower than he was. So
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. Attention. Yeah, but he got out of it real quick. He got the spanking, so he was good after that.
Wow. And cousin Jeff, you kind of just stood over him a little bit, use your stature, use your height, and just like, look, this isn't going down in this house.
I'm the man.
Well, I remember the very first time I kind of spanked my son, and he must have been about 5 or 6, and it was because he was arguing with another boy his age, and I watched the boy spit in my son's face, and my son didn't hit him back. And I was so angry. I mean, that thing pissed me off because I wanted to hit that little boy, bust him in his head. He spit running down my son's face, and you don't hit him back.
So what about turning the other cheek? What about that? Turning the other cheek, Pastor?
Nah. I took my son in the bathroom, and I told him, I spanked his behind, and I said, you going out there, and you better handle that right now.
She said, Pastor.
Okay? Because you don't let nobody spit in your face like that.
Right.
The ultimate disrespect.
I was so angry, man.
Wow.
Because listen, y'all go ahead and talk all that, turn the other cheek and everything else. There's a time, even Solomon said, there's a season for everything. And when you get spit in your face like that, ain't a time to turn the other cheek, okay?
No.
I mean, if a guy got a gun on you and he spits in your face, then hey, dude, spit another one. Because I can't do nothing about that. But you don't come up to me with just hands just like me and spit in my face. I can't. Nah, I'm just not the one. And I can't raise my kids that way neither.
Wow.
So what happened? Did the kid wait for him to come back out, or what happened?
Well, what happened, that mama recognized how furious I was, and she got her boy out of there real quick, and she apologized to me so much, because I think she think I was gonna hurt her kid.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to. But I knew I couldn't.
Yeah, right.
And I wish his dad was there, because I think I would have swung on his dad for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping he was there.
Yeah, but the dad wasn't there, you know.
Mm.
Yeah. So is it ever a place or an appropriate discipline for timeout? I mean, so they believe, after a certain age, timeout is out. I mean, how do you discipline a teenager now? I mean, how do you discipline, when do you use timeout, since this is supposed to be
You
the new
use
way of
timeout.
discipline?
You use timeout when timeout works. Okay.
Mm,
That's
Use
true.
it when it
interesting.
works. But if it ain't
Yeah.
working, then it's timeout for timeout.
I never understood the timeout. I never understood that.
I mean, no, it can work. I mean, it can work. I've told my kid, listen, go somewhere, calm yourself down, and then we will pick this up later. Because I was too angry to even engage. So then I needed a timeout.
Yeah,
Mm.
See, sometimes the parents need a timeout
that's true. That's true.
to
That's
get themselves together. Like I said, that's where you get these parents getting arrested for abuse and stuff because they don't know how to pull back.
Yeah.
And if you're that type of person, then you need a timeout before you even deal. Don't handle
Everybody
that
needs a
situation right
timeout.
away.
All
You're
right,
right.
so what about for the parents that where the children out there putting hands on the parents?
That
Yeah,
didn't
no,
start
that's-
that day. That didn't start that day.
Yeah.
It started with
Yeah.
you letting the little child holding your arm slap you in the face.
Scratch
Yeah.
you in the face, slap you in the face, act out in Walmart and every place else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to nip that in the bud at a young age.
Immediately. Yeah.
Soon as at any age, so whatever age they start looking at you sideways or looking at you funny, you say something to them and they just staring right at you. Is that the day that you begin discipline?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen, I know parents running around their own house scared of their children.
Yes.
Locking the
I'm not gonna
doors.
pay the bills in my house and live in fear.
Well,
I'm not going to put
Yeah.
clothes on your back and live in fear. You going to fear me.
right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let you know that I'm a little crazy. You ain't going to sleep comfortably in my house, have me scared of you. I don't care what
Exactly.
society say, courts say, police say. I'm not going to live in my house in fear. You getting up out my house or you catching a serious beat down if you got me scared in my house.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
I
just
think,
not
I
gonna
mean, if that's at a teenage age, it just have gone too far. What do you think about the situation where it has gotten to that point where the kid's a teenager and
Yeah.
and become very disrespectful?
My
How do you
son's a
handle that?
teenager. He's 16 and I'm 54 and he can't take his dad. Trust me.
No, yeah.
Because I'm that person. If my hand skills is failing me, I will pick up a shoe or anything in here and I will bust up your head in my house. That's the rules in my house.
Mm.
It's just not happening. I'm not gonna live in fear. I don't care how strong you get. I don't care how many push-ups you get. I don't care how tall you get. I don't care how many rips you get in your belly, in your stomach. In my house, nobody's gonna whip me in my house. That is just not gonna happen. I'm not gonna lose a fight in my house.
Mm. I'm glad we're cousins because we're all going to get old.
Listen, age, I don't care if I'm 80. I'm not
Well,
losing a fight in my house.
We're all going to get old, cousin. And, I hope it doesn't come to the day that you're older in the wheelchair. I'm going to have to start coming by the house.
If I'm in a wheelchair, I'm not gonna lose in my house. You better know I'm gonna pull something out of that wheelchair, go upside your head if you try to make me scared in my house. This is the one place. This is the one place that I should always feel safe.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's in my house.
Absolutely.
In your house, exactly. I
agree.
believe no matter what the age, if that kid feels the urge that they can swing on you, call the police on you, it's time for them to go. Because if they're not getting counseling, and if they are getting counseling, and that's not helping, there's something else going on, and that kid may really need to go.
And if that child has mental illness, listen, just because it's your child, if it's crazy, put it where crazy's supposed to go.
Mm.
Okay? I'm not gonna have no mentally ill a person in my house. You understand? And I know it because I need.
You mean that mentally ill person that is that's unmanageable?
Yes, that's what I mean. I mean somebody that, you know, they're not taking any medication. They, you know, I'm just not going to have to worry in my house. That's my rule.
Right.
So whatever is the worry, it has to go. Cause when you was here, I had somebody in my house that kept me worried. I got her butt out of here.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
She been going a year and a half now. I got her butt out of here.
Yeah, I mean, because your house is just safe, is your haven. You should be safe. You should feel safe.
That should be yes.
Whether it's a guest or a child, or you shouldn't live in fear in your own house. You shouldn't have to lock your doors because you're a teenager or your minor child. You got to get them help. If your discipline is not working, and like you said, if timeout, it works when it's supposed to. If you can sit there for 10, 15 minutes and come back a different person, then it works.
Yes.
But if not, then it doesn't. You're right.
So I don't even allow a bunch of crying in my house. My little daughter, she loves to cry, and that she might get away with that, her mother. But I'll tell her in a minute when I hear some crying. I said, I'm gonna give you a reason to cry. You better shut that down because I don't want to hear that mess.
I used to hear that when I was a kid. Give you a reason to cry. Yeah.
Wow. No crying.
How you gonna cry when I give you everything you need and want? I spoil you, and you running around my house crying.
Do you know why she's crying?
To get more. If I lived with you, you give me everything I need and want, I might cry a little bit too.
What you gonna cry for?
I'd probably have a list. I have a list in the room of things I wanted.
My kids are spoiled. Trust me. my wife is spoiled.
I'm working through this list.
She better not be running around here crying.
After she watches, she might, man. She might have a list. Cry a little bit before Christmas.
I grew up in a home where it was nothing but fussing and fighting all the time. So I don't want that in my home. I can't take it. I won't allow it. I need a peaceful environment. The only fuss that's gonna be in my house is me.
So what about back when I was in elementary school, whatever year that was, the teachers were allowed to give you spankings. Remember them paddles? I don't know if y'all ever got whipped in school, but I got whipped in school a couple times.
They did that. I never allowed it. You're not gonna whip me. I don't give a heck. Teacher tried to whip me one time, and me and him scrapped all over the classroom, and they kicked me out of school and they fired him.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So was it not allowed at that school, or?
It was a private school
that
my mother sent me to, and it was all white. I was like token black, and he was teaching a subject on slavery and said, yeah, we did black people, we helped them by bringing them out the jungles and civilizing, bringing them into civilization.
Wow.
And when he made that statement, I said hunky, and I went off with my mouth, and he came over and hit me. And that was the last time. You wasn't gonna get away with that. He hit me, and I picked up a chair, and I slammed him with it.
Wow.
And now we got to fight. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. No, he was totally in the wrong. He was totally in the wrong.
They had to fire him.
Yeah.
But they kicked me out of school too. They told my mother, I don't think he likes us here.
What grade was this?
And
I was
and they did the right thing.
I was in the sixth grade. No,
they did the right
seventh grade. I was in the seventh grade.
So, cousin AJ, you said they did the right thing by kicking him out to school?
Yeah, I mean, if he, I have been to private school, and they did SWAT you if you did something wrong, and when you are enrolled, the parent is aware that they have that right to SWAT you. And I got swatted once. I can't remember what it was for. Mr. Saban was the science teacher. I did something with my best friend, but it was just whatever. But I would not allow another school. My son went through private school all throughout. And I would not allow them, if there's a problem, they need to call me. I can take care of my kid. I'm one of those that's engaged. I worked in my son's classroom till he was in the 7th, 8th grade. So I'm an engaged parent. So they saw me daily. They knew I was involved. So if he did something, I would check it right there. But again, my son was, he was easy. He was an angel. So thank
Well,
God. But
I'm in good company.
I would not allow them to swap my child.
I'm in good company. Both of y'all went to private schools. So there's somebody on here made a comment that they got paddled in school, and when their mother found out, their mother went up to the school and tore the place down.
Yeah.
She climbed to the flagpole and pulled the flag down. She keyed their principal's car. She cut the vice principal's tires. No, they didn't say all that, but they said the mother. I know the mother. When the mother went up there, she it was over. That's the last time that person ever got whipped. But looking at the comment, I know the person. I think they should have got probably a couple more paddlings when they were in school.
Yeah,
I know that person was making that comment. I mean, you should have got a couple more paddlings.
I was never.
But you know what though? The problem though now is that some of these kids really they need to be paddled,
right?
Because they don't get it at home. But I think that should be established. Every kid is different. Like if my kid does something and he's needs, I don't think it's the teacher's place to discipline him. But if you've got a kid that's unruly and that and he's hard to handle or whatever,
right?
And that's the setting, that's a private school because the public schools don't do that. Then that's up to that parent and that facility. But me as a parent, I would not want them to paddle my child. I could take care of that.
Wow.
You know why?
What about the village?
Can't leave it to the teachers, because just like the police, you don't know whether they hit your child because they Black.
Exactly. Or because they actually deserve it.
Or they deserve it. And that private school I went to was very prejudiced. I used to miss the honor roll by a half a point because my behavior. They didn't want a Black on the honor roll.
Yeah,
and I missed it by half a point. It didn't matter that I got all hundreds on my test. I missed the honor roll by half a point because of my behavior. That makes no sense.
I agree. And that's why it shouldn't be up to them.
Those teachers that thought that way to discipline, because who are they going to discipline? You know?
I agree.
A lot of them feel like we all need to be back. I was listening to him teach. He felt like we needed to be back in Africa in the jungles.
Really?
Where he got you from?
Roots was out at the time. I was watching Roots at the time.
Oh my goodness.
So what was in my head once he said that. Kunte Kinte, and they whipping him on the phone.
What's your name?
I went off.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think his name. His name was what's his name? Mr. Flynn from Wisconsin.
I wonder where Mr. Flynn is now.
Yeah,
but Curtis, you said you brought up a good point. The village, that's different. I think that's different.
So
I think so.
That's not extended to the teachers at school. So it's just families.
Well, I think that's
neighbors?
different. I think. Well, I mean, if you know your neighbor, Mrs. Jones, and you live there because your mother lived there, and she know your whole family, and she's she knows right, and you know better, and she threatens to spank you herself. I don't have a problem. I'm part of my son grew up in that kind of village setting where it's about 30 of us, good friends. We all met. Some of them have been friends from elementary school. And if one of them popped my son for doing something I don't have a problem with that because I trust that.
Okay. So it can work.
That. Absolutely. It takes a village. It takes a village. If I'm visiting, cousin, he's got smaller children, and Jules, his little girl, if she says something out of place or out of hand and no one's there, I'm gonna check her. Otherwise, don't leave her with me. If you don't think that I'm supposed to check her, I
agree with that. And that's why I won't leave my child with somebody that
you don't trust.
I don't fear that I don't trust.
Exactly.
that's the way I am with that. It
Yeah.
does take a village, you know, to raise a child. I mean, it really
Absolutely.
does. A parent can't see everything, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
We can't catch everything.
Exactly.
But like I said, some people. I remember growing up in church. The man's dead now. He was one of the ministers at the church. He used to beat his sons till they bled with
Really?
everything, right? And one day, me and his son got into a fight, and this man was working on his car outside the church, pulled the belt, the belt that around the engine oil,
The fan belt.
whipped his sons, and then came
Wow.
to whip me. Came towards with me. And I was a kid then, and I wasn't having it. It just wasn't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I started picking up bottles, throwing it at him, and I went off. You ain't whipping me. And everybody came out the church and everything else. It was a big thing. And the bottom line was, this dude, he shouldn't be whipping anybody. You know what I'm saying? The man crazy. And I wasn't gonna allow him to whip me. I just, you
Wow.
know, you can't let everybody hit your kids. You know,
No.
ain't gonna be
That's true.
throwing blood on me.
That's
Yeah.
true.
No. No.
But-
Because
but
I mean,
some-
you gotta. There's a line. I mean, after a while, it becomes abuse.
Right. But it
You know,
seems
there's a
like,
line.
there's a pattern there somewhere with cousin Jeff growing up.
He got into a lot of fights.
He got into a lot of
No, I
fights.
did. I got kicked out of a lot of schools. I got into a lot of fights.
You know,
But can I tell you something? It was, believe it or not, it wasn't me starting the fights. It was my mother kept moving to a new neighborhood. And then I was not a child that you could just do anything to. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never been that person. I just couldn't take it. I was a good child. I got straight A's. I went on to one of the smartest high schools, Brooklyn Technical High School, you know, in New York, right? One of the special schools. But the one thing I couldn't take, I don't start with you, so don't start with me. And I suffered a lot of prejudiceness growing up. It was so much prejudice out here, you know, and I just wasn't going to take it.
I
I
understand.
probably would have been one of them slaves that you probably would have had to cut off my toe.
Rebellion.
You know what I'm saying?
You would have
Wow.
been a rebellious slave.
Yeah, I just ain't going to take it. But it was a pattern. My mother had a hard time with that because she had to put me places that, you know, they were fair. And then we were cool, you know?
Wow, that's interesting.
I look back on it and analyze it as an adult. And like I said, I was a skinny fella. So I wasn't gonna go around picking no fights. I just
You-
wasn't gonna back
You
down.
finish
You're
him.
gonna bring it.
Right. You just look like you wanted to always be in one.
I not want to. It seemed like it always came to me.
Interesting.
You know,
Little
came-
misplaced
always-
aggression.
it always
There you
was
go.
presented before me. When
So-
you violate my rights.
So have you ever heard growing up, cousin Jeff, have you ever heard when you're like walking up to a crowd, oh, here he comes. You ever hear that?
Nah.
Here he
You
comes.
know what I did here? Don't mess with him or his family. You're gonna have a problem. That's the guys in the neighborhood now talk about it. They said you never want to mess with Jeff because Jeff won't let it go.
Wow.
Like leave him and his family alone, and you're good. Because that was my tipping point. Don't mess with my little brothers and sisters. Don't mess with my family. And then we were good.
Interesting. So how did that follow you around though? Moving from school to school, place to place.
Like I said, when I got into high school, that stopped because it was
Okay.
I went to such a huge high school, you know, 20-something floors and thousands of people. And you know, nobody could be, you know, I didn't suffer no racial stuff there because it was just too many people. You know, so I didn't have problems in high school. All of this was before high school. You know? So from high school on, I didn't fight. I didn't have to.
That's good. All right, well,
You grew out
cousin,
of it.
You grew out of it? Yeah.
Well, I didn't grow out of it. I suffered stuff dealing with police and different other things, and you had a fight. I got a case against the city right now for some mess the police did to me that were wrong, and even the judge said it was wrong. You know.
Wow.
But not
It
as a
was-
not as a
it was-
kid. Not as a kid. Not as a kid though, right?
No, not as a kid. I'm talking about now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. On that note, I want to thank you guys for hopping on there. We had that one subject tonight. Should you or should you not discipline your kids?
Yes.
When they're out of hand, or should you put them in timeout? Should you spare that rod and spoil them childs that I be seeing around that are spoiled? Should you let it go? And let them get older and let the justice system handle them.
Nah, listen, don't let it go. Don't spare the rod. You understand? Discipline when needed. Time out.
You're either
when
you're gonna pay now or you're gonna pay later.
The famous last words: pay now, pay later. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to be back next Tuesday, same bad time, same channel, for Cousins Corner for another gripping topic. Please log in, share, hit the like button so we can continue to bring you this great content. And we'd like your comments. Get your comments in. Tell us what you think about Cousin AJ, Cousin Jeff, and Cousin Curtis about how they feel about all these topics we're talking about, especially beating them kids. That's why I carry an extra belt, just in case somebody needs one. So if you ever see me at Walmart, I got an extra belt on me. And I know every Walmart I walk into, I go to the belt section first.
Well, you ever see me in public with my kids? I don't like scenes. I might allow some things that go on in public that I won't let happen in private. All right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm about to turn the other way. All right. Thank you, everybody,
All
for
right.
tuning in. We're
Thank
looking
you.
forward to having you guys back. Have a
All
good
right.
night,
Good night.
everybody.
Good
All
night.
right.
Good night,
Bye
cousin.
bye. Good night.